Hi everyone! So, prices are going up and quality's going down, and I actually kind of think, yeah, it is, depending on the brand. So I've got a ruler here, by the way, because there's some stuff that I'm going to demonstrate with this. If you've been thinking about buying a bag from one of the brands that I'm going to talk about, you might be listening going, well, if the quality's gone down, should I buy it? Should I? I mean, I still want it, but should I? I think there are some workarounds. I'm going to do a follow-up video as well, which is brands that have got lower price, but their quality is amazing. And do you know, isn't it funny, there's more brands for me in that more positive category than there are in this category. Let's commence. Chanel. Have a look at this. If you watched the last video, I already showed you this. One of you actually tagged me in this on Instagram last week, and I knew that the prices had gone up in Chanel over the last year, but to be honest, I didn't realise quite how much. Do you see what I mean? And it was only when you tagged me in this image, who I'm crediting the account, by the way, so if you go and check them out because they look quite good. When I looked at it, I thought, wow, these price rises, they're not just, you know, a little bit here and there, they're massive, and there's loads of them. Now, when we talk about Chanel quality, what do we really mean? You know, because it's all very well saying the quality's got bad, but let's be specific. How has it got bad? Now, I'm sure there's going to be those of you watching this video saying, Sophie, how can you recommend this stuff? It is junk. Well, do you know something? It's not that I'm recommending it or not recommending it, actually. It's more to do with the fact that, you know what, everyone, nothing's going to change with the prices and nothing's going to change with the quality. And I know that for a lot of us here, this is what we're into. And to say to you all, everyone, never buy this stuff again. I think it's unrealistic. A lot of you watch because this is what you're into. This is how it is. So this video is going to be mainly about, if you're hell-bent on buying any of these brands, solutions you can put in place to actually buy something that is good. For me personally, when I think about quality, there are 4 things for me which, when I think about Chanel, need to be improved. But it depends on the bag that you get. Have a look at this. The first thing that can be quite frustrating is that the flaps are not always straight. Now, I know that these things are largely made by hand, which is good, you know, when you're spending, like, this bag's over £6,000, come on, I want it to be good quality and stuff like that. Also, if I show you this, which a lot of you saw several weeks ago now, I purchased a couple of small leather good items from the new spring summer collection, and they turned up, and to me, I think the quality of them's really bad. Do you know, the reason why I showed them in the first place is I thought I'm gonna do a video showing my Chanel collection, and the intention was at the end of that video I'll do this unboxing. So I filmed the collection, and then I moved the camera over to there to film the unboxing, and I unboxed it. And the first thing that I saw, which was, I think, the silver vanity case, as I opened it, I was like, oh my God, that's really bad. And I thought to myself, I can't be saying on camera, oh wow, isn't it amazing? Because I thought it's clearly not. It was like the zips weren't straight and one side bulged out more than the other, and the handle on the top was, like, I managed to bend it straight in the end, but it was weird. And also when I unboxed the little black wristlet, although I found out that actually goes on the top of your arm, but when I unboxed that, that also was bad. Now, I was hoping that, okay, one's a bit duff, but the other one's going to be fine. When I noticed they were both like it, I was actually really upset, because in the pictures, I loved the look of them, but when I saw them in real life, I was disappointed. That said, this is what I'm going to tell you about. Just because one item looks like it was made on a Friday afternoon, that does not mean that same item, if there is another in stock, will look the same. And here is a good example. Classic flap that I bought back in 2016. There are a couple of things with this that I didn't know at the time, but now, ever since then, I've started looking for it. First of all, the flap should be straight across the front. I know it's really minor, but as I say, if you're going to go and spend £6,000, this kind of thing I think is, like, important. If Coach can make their flap bits straight, and I feel like these should be straight. But anyway, if you take a look here, the flap on this side is exactly 2.6. See, this side is 2.2. So do you see what I'm saying? This side is lower. Now the situation going on here is so minute, you know, it's only a few millimeters, but I've actually seen bags in the boutiques before where the flap has been totally off. I actually looked at this bag a couple of years ago. They only had one in stock, and the flap was so visibly wonky that even the SA said, yeah, this probably shouldn't be on the shelf. And there was nothing you could do about it because the flap had actually been stitched on at the back of the bag on an angle. So in the excitement of the moment of buying any of these bags from any of the brands, that's what I'm saying, be really critical, because once you've bought it and you're past 14 days, that is yours. So you're kind of stuck with that. You know, if you look at it in the street, no one's going to notice, but I've got other bags that are perfectly straight, like perfect, as you would imagine. So yes, I'm being really picky with it, but you know, when I review this stuff, I am really picky with it because I just think that if we're going to go and buy this stuff, I want the quality to be good. So that's why I'm always honest with you about how I see it. The other thing for me, and I'm going to show you a vintage in this just to give you a demonstration of how things have changed over the years, but the quilting on the top, when the flap is closed, should meet and continue the quilting on the bottom. So if you've got half a kind of diamond shape here, which we do there, that's quite out of line with what's below it. Now if I compare this to the vintage version, you can see on the vintage version, despite the fact this bag is battered because it's 32 years old now, the lineup is still perfect. In fact, even if I show you a bag that I bought several months ago now, I already knew this. I thought, go and look at this bag closely before you purchase it. And when I looked at it, I made sure that that lined up, because I tell you what, some of you have sent me pictures of fakes, and even the fakes line up there like really well. So that's the second thing, making sure the flap is straight and making sure that the quilting all lines up. And on some it lines up, on others it doesn't quite, on others it's really bad. It's not to say they're all like it. And then finally with Chanel, which is not the case on the 32-year-old vintage that I'm going to show you here, but I have got a wallet which has got gold hardware on the logo, and the gold has rubbed off on the edges of the lettering. I actually don't have, do I? I don't have a Chanel bag, I think, that's got gold hardware. I think I've got one that's got champagne hardware, but it hasn't done that yet because I haven't worn it enough, whereas that wallet I use pretty much daily. And when I've seen some of them on pre-loved for sale, the newer ones, I mean non-vintage, that is the case with the gold. I don't know whether it's the case with the chain handle, but definitely on here I've noticed it. Now if I compare the gold hardware on that wallet, which I actually can't find at the moment, so I can't show you it, the gold hardware on the 32-year-old flap bag that you can see here, the gold has rubbed off on the turn lock, which you would imagine and expect because it's the bit that sticks out the most. But have a look at the gold on those double C's. The gold has not rubbed off on the edges, which you would expect it to have over this amount of time. It's only rubbed off on that bit that is prominent and sticks out. On the wallet that I've got, it's really, really slight. I mean, it's not terrible, but this is why I quite like buying the silver hardware items from Chanel, because then you don't have this issue. But as I'm going to speak in a moment, there are protective stickers that you can get that go over the top of hardware, and you can't even see these stickers, and they will sort you out from that perspective. Check as well the quilting as it meets the back pocket on the back of the bag, and make sure that it lines up here. There might be some of you watching who don't care about this kind of thing, but I always want to be honest on this kind of thing because it's a lot of money. You want it to line up. I've got a couple of bags from Louis Vuitton. One is the Louis Vuitton Artsy bag, and that's from 2011. And the other one is this, which I think was called the Chrissy bag. And if I remember rightly, maybe it was from, I think it was from 2010. Now I've also got some newer Louis Vuitton bags. I've got the Can bag and the Alma BB. And I wish I could, I've also got another one, what is it? The My Lock Me bag. They're all newer, recent years. And I wish you could feel through the camera the difference between how the canvas feels from the older ones to the newer ones. On the older ones, it's really weird, but the canvas feels supple and squishy and soft. And on the new ones, it feels more like dry and brittle. How weird's that? But that's how I would describe it. The canvas pieces that I've got, while I love them, by the way, the downside to them that has not happened on the other ones is that the hardware has scratched up. And the scratching happens relatively quickly. I bought the My Lock Me bag in 2018, I think it was, 2019. And I hadn't actually really used it that much at the time, and I noticed there was some scratching on the LV logo on the front. And I did a double take actually. I thought, oh my God, how have I done that? And I looked at it in the light and I thought, oh God, I don't know how I've done that. Now, the same thing happened with the wallet that I bought at the same time. And when I spoke about it, rightly so, I had some of you saying, well, what do you expect? It's hardware. But what I was trying to say when I did that video is, honestly, I hadn't even used that bag for more than a week. And I hadn't used it every day that week. I don't use them for work. So I used it maybe on the weekend. And so to see the scratches so early on, if that bag was, say, even 3 months old and I used it regularly, or even a month old and I used it regularly, I'd think, yeah, fair enough. Should that put you off? Well, only if you want it to. I think what I would do now is there are companies that sell these stickers that go over the metalware. I'm that person that leaves the stickers on that, by the way. I'm kind of thinking, I've just bought this bag, I want it perfect forever. But there are places that sell those, but they're designed to go over the top so you can't even see them there. It doesn't look like you've left the one from the shop on it. So I just think, do that. If you really want this bag, but you're thinking, I don't want to buy it, and then it looks like that after a week, I will try and find one of the places that do such stickers, and if I can find them, I'll put them below for you. The leather on the Louis Vuitton, it's okay, but it's not, I've spent £3,000 okay. Like the leather on the Chanel bags, it feels a bit more expensive. Whereas this feels like that kind of artisan leather that you might get on a bag that you've bought, you know, in Italy somewhere. It's still really great quality leather, but it's not, to me at least, it's different and not the quality of Dior and of Chanel. It's quite a flimsy, kind of thin leather. It doesn't necessarily hold its shape the way I thought it would do, and actually the chain is a lot heavier than the bag itself. Oh, can you see the scratching on there? That scratching isn't actually from anything I've done. That scratching is from the actual twist lock that rubs on it, and I don't think that's right. I don't think that should do that. Better leather, in my opinion, is on this, which I showed a couple of videos ago. This bag is gorgeous. Now, if you have a look at the leather close up, they are both a type of pebbled leather, but and can you see the Louis Vuitton? It looks a bit worn around the corners. It's not. This bag hasn't actually been worn. Honestly, it hasn't been worn. Whereas this leather is structured. Like if I try and squeeze it, it doesn't give, it doesn't bend. And this is not, how much is this? This is around about £1,000. This feels sturdy, and you've still got it by like an iconic brand. I actually think this is really worth it. Solutions. And as I mentioned earlier, this video is really for those of you watching who, despite quality and all of this, you know at the end of it all, I really want this certain bag from this certain brand, and I'm going to end up buying it. Now look, quality and price rises, frankly, they're not going to inhibit any of these brands. People are going to still buy, but there are things that you can do. First of all, You could always buy pre-loved, which doesn't always mean buying a dusty old vintage. Of course, vintage is not for everyone, but you could buy pre-loved, which means you can get quite a good discount. Another option is with hardware, and I really find Louis Vuitton is the most frustrating for this, but you can get these protective stickers that are not visible when you've put them on the bag. And finally, as I've mentioned, when you buy these bags, be really picky. You can find one that has issues and one that doesn't. Hope that you found this interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.